Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. We are jumping right into a game with the Hakuryu. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, and that is a tough one for me to pronounce. You guys know me. I'm terrible at pronouncing ship names. But anyway, so this is the legendary tier Japanese aircraft carrier, right? So what we're doing now is we're just doing some pre-drops. So basically the idea here is to send some of your planes back to the carrier, as opposed to flying your full squadron over fresh battleships and enemy ships that have lots and lots of AA, right? So this makes it so that these guys go back to the carrier, and then you're more likely to have sort of full squads available throughout the rest of the game. So we're just being a little bit conservative, and this way we can do some spotting, we can have a decent run, and then have plenty of planes left at our carrier. Otherwise, when you're going to get more of them are going to get shot down, basically is what's going to happen. So we'll go after this destroyer here just because that's kind of convenient. We happen to spot him, and it's huge just to just let your team know where those destroyers are, right? So a lot of folks can sort of argue that when you're playing the carrier, your job is to go after those destroyers, and I will always agree to disagree with that, because it's just not, sometimes it makes sense, and if I'm gonna go and spot them and my teammates are gonna help shoot them, absolutely I'll go and spot them all day long and help get them off the board, right? But it is tough to hit, even with some of the carriers, some of the airplanes, it's easier to hit the destroyers, but in general it's tough to hit destroyers with when you're playing as the carrier, right? So it makes sense to spot if your team's going to help you shoot, but otherwise I get pretty frustrated only going after destroyers, right? So you end up having like hardly doing any damage and just wasting a ton of time when you could be actually like helping your team, and helping do damage to other ships, right? So, but you'll see me go after destroyers when it kind of makes sense, but yeah, it's tough to get those hits, right? So. But as you can see, we sort of did our duty, and we at least spotted all three of them sort of early on here, and even did a couple of, even did a run at each one, right? So, but that's my gripe for the day of being the carrier, and my sole job is definitely not to only go after destroyers, right? If you're gonna help me shoot, I will go after and spot them, but yeah. But this ended up being one of those games where I was trying to take care of too much stuff myself. So we do try to keep these destroyers spotted and at least let our teammates know where they are. And then you can see we're also, and we're using our shield consumable whenever we're taking fire, as often as we can, right? And then we're dropping fighters over top of our sort of clumped together, allied ships that are kind of near us here, because I noticed that the enemy carrier has been going after them. So we're going to take an easier shot at this cruiser here, as opposed to wasting our planes over that destroyer again. So the other thing too is a good destroyer player is going to be able to dodge most of your attacks as the carrier as well. So it's kind of, it can definitely be counterintuitive. You'll sit there and drop a lot of ordnance and not get a lot of damage done, right? So we'll go after this cruiser just because he's kind of coming in on us, and pressing a little bit harder. And then we are going to trigger we triggered our carrier to start moving in reverse here too, at some point. But I wish I should have had that lined up a little bit better. And since we're kind of already on the way to these battleships, we'll probably lose a lot of planes doing this, but we'll take a good run at this curve first here just because he's kind of already lined up for us. So it's kind of an easy run, so we'll take advantage of that, right? So managed to land all three bombs, trigger a fire. And then, yeah, so that cruiser wasn't, they finished off, my teammates finished off that cruiser, so we'll keep the carrier here for now. But I'm a little nervous of those battleships over in A if they keep pressing. Curve first, German battleships like to YOLO it, so we just have to keep an eye on that. And then, yeah, since it's still somewhat newish, early on in the game, we're going to do some pre-dropping of torpedoes just so we're not flying our full squadron over top of lots of AA fire, right? So I could see that this zone is contested, so we're going to pick up this destroyer for our teammates. And then he does have just a tiny sliver of health left. So we'll keep flying over him. We're going to use our shield consumable. That helps us to take a little bit of less AA fire, right? And then we'll take a run at him too. It looks like he wants to sort of stay behind this island to, avoid bullets from our allies. So part of the reason here, to go after them here is, even if you don't get that damage on him, you're gonna flush him out, right? So he's running away from his cover now, and this is giving my teammates opportunity to shoot him. Where my frustration comes in is when my teammates do not shoot him. Like, he's got a tiny little bit of health left. Like, someone needs to finish that dude off, right? Like, just shoot. Get him off the board, you guys. Get him off the board. So we kept him spotted. We definitely did our duty there. Whether he goes down or not, we will see. So yeah, we did trigger the carrier to go in reverse. We've got these battleships over here that are pressing, so we're going to start picking on them. This is a big problem with how aggressive they are being. And yeah, we're like I said, so we've gone, we've spent a bunch of time going after destroyers, and it was the right thing to do, right? But our teammates weren't too excited about trying to shoot them. So they're still alive. We've only managed to kill one of their destroyers, and we've lost 2 of ours, right? So, but yeah, so that's where my frustration comes in, is I'm keeping guys spotted, and I'm just flying over there and just losing planes, right? So, and we were only at like 30,000, 29,000 damage from trying to hunt them down, and we even took a couple of runs at a battleship and a cruiser, right? So, and now we've got 2 battleships that have that are pressing in hard. And so we're forced to go after these guys, right? So we will do that. But now that we're going after big ships, we're able to actually put damage on the board, right? So we're actually, this is where I feel like I'm actually doing some contributing. If you want to show up on the leaderboard at the end of the match, if you don't want to be at the bottom, you're going to have to go after some of the big ships sometimes, right? So this is an easy run for us. The Care First is pretty much sitting still. He's probably trying to back up and realize he's made a terrible mistake. So we'll see if we can't sneak another run in here. But as you can see, the scoreboard wise, we are down pretty significantly on points, and it's a little scary seeing that they still have 2 destroyers left, right? So all that spotting we did early on in the game, and not a lot of people wanted to help out and shoot the destroyers, and those are the frustrating games for me, right? So we will continue to pick on this Care First. This is kind of an easy no-brainer at this point. I want to get him off the board so that he's not a threat to our ship. We'll pre-drop here. If he keeps pressing forward, maybe one of these torpedoes will go after him, but hoping to just not lose as many planes, right? And then we will trigger the sort of anti-air defense shield consumable here while we circle around to try and get a decent angle on him. At this point, the safe route would be to just go out wider so that you're not taking that AA fire as much. But I could see that this is going to be a time crunch of a game. We can kind of already tell. So we're moving our carrier in. We use the autopilot function to pilot him towards A, so that you can see that white line on the mini-map. Right, so we get 2 torp hits on that Care First, hoping our teammates can finish the job here. Thank you very much. And then this is kind of a situation where, like, all right, we need to start doing some spotting. We need to start doing more damage to ships. I'm going to move the carrier just a little bit further out to the right, just in case this Yamato here, whatever this is, keeps pressing in, right? But it doesn't look like he's moving too quickly here. And then we're going to use our engine cooldown, speedy uppy thingy, to try and just reduce the amount of time that we're over top of this guy. I don't know if we're going to have enough, like that Yamato's got some pretty wicked AA. I don't know if we're going to, yeah, we're probably not going to be able to do another run. We're just going to lose too many planes. Come on. Can we get 1 bomb off? Nope. Yep. Oh, no. Yeah, but we missed it. Should have just went back to the carrier. But yeah, as you can see, so we've been doing kind of pre-dropping when it felt appropriate, and then for most of the time as we come back to the carrier to bring in more, to launch more planes, we've got full squads out here. So This destroyer gets picked up by our battleship here. So if he can't finish him off, we'll go and spot him so to try and like help out, right? So, but he does manage to get that kill, but then he does get hit by torpedoes as well. So we lose him, and then we're gonna go to where we see these bullets coming from, right? So then we're gonna trigger our carrier to go in and start capping that zone. This is definitely gonna be a points situation here. And then hopefully we can spot for our cruiser, and our cruiser can help take this guy out, right? And then we're just gonna have to figure out. I can kind of see there's some fighters that were on the minimap a second ago that were right on the other side of that island by B. So my guess is gonna be that carrier came in and parked himself behind those islands, right? So we just missed that torp shot, which will be good for us because that means he's closer. But we're gonna get rid of this cruiser first if we can. Just because we know he's here, we're gonna start capping zones potentially. Really, this is like gonna be such a time crunch. Our carrier's moving so slow to this zone. We get the torp hit, incapacitation. Hopefully our cruiser, can our cruiser finish off that guy? Come on, baby. We're up to, now that we haven't had to chase down destroyers, and we are now up to 102,000 damage. And yeah, we'll finish him off if our cruiser can't. So I'm using the speed up function here as much as I can to try and get myself into the fight, right? And so now it's going to be a matter of finding this carrier and finishing it off. So hopefully our cruiser can get an angle on him, but I'm going to guess, unless he's backed up, unless he's backing up, there's fighters. He's got to be like right there. There he is. And yeah, that's a midway, so we're going to lose a lot of planes going after this guy. And it's a good thing we have a lot of planes, right? We prepared for this. We did it, but we're going to need to trigger status effects to finish this thing off. So we're going to need to trigger fires and floods, so we are getting lucky here, triggering that fire. And then we're going to end up probably having to move our carrier even closer. We'll wait till it gets into the zone here. We got a moment to... but basically what I want to do is get our carrier as close as possible to his. That way our airplanes don't take that long to get to him, right? So we're using up all our engine speed just to try and get to this guy. So the reason I didn't do a pre-drop here is because I'm going to try and do sort of a long range shot. You can see in the green section of the aiming, that's how far out those torps will go. And my plan was to fly over him and see if I couldn't circle back around, but it looks like we were just losing planes like wicked crazy fast, right? So we're gonna go back, grab the bombers, and get our bomber run. And this is where those early pre-drops were gold for us, because now we've actually got planes that we can send, right? So we might get that one torp hit on him. That would be great. Didn't trigger anything. Even in incapacitation, since the carriers automatically trigger their damage con, so like anything is going to be gold here. 1 minute left. They're kicking our butt on points. We are capping. Our cruiser is capping that other zone. It looks like he's trying to move out so he can get an angle too. And then we probably need a flood here. And we get it. There we go. And yeah, so our cruiser can, well, he's at least shooting. Whether he can hit him or not, I can't quite. Yeah, he's like skimming him right in the nose. I think we'll get him from the flood. Yes, we do. That's a clutch win for us there. Thank you. But yeah, so I was trying to take care of just too many freaking things in that game. I was like trying to fly over allies, drop fighters for them, and then trying to help spot those destroyers. But I really needed teammates to help shoot. Like, I think that was our biggest struggle there, was teammates not helping shoot those destroyers enough. So it does earn us second place on the leaderboard. I always kind of brag when you're, if you can make it to the top 4, the top half of your team in XP when you're playing the carrier, you're doing pretty good. Because carriers are pretty challenging, especially if you're going after destroyers, right? So we have our inspirations built for AA, just because I like destroying enemy airplanes that are coming after our carrier, right? But you could definitely go offensive and improve either your torp bombers or your HE bombers, right? But and then yeah, this is how we kind of have our commander built out, and then I do pick the sort of the fully packed that gives you the extra consumables for the planes in both sets too. So you're getting extra fighters that you can drop, extra defensive consumable, and extra, you know, engine cooldown for more speed. But that is our video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way through. Please do make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are on the struggle bus that is the goal of trying to get to 500 subscribers, which is the sweet spot for the YouTubes, right? So thank you guys for watching. We will have another video tomorrow, so make sure to be here.